Welcome to Framing the Hammer, the podcast by 4A Arts, American Alliance of Artists and Audiences. We aim to change the narrative around arts, culture, design, and craft for American society to ultimately influence how elected leaders at the local, state, and federal levels support and fund them. On Framing the Hammer, we chat with artists from throughout the creative economy to advance this social movement we are trying to inspire. And our guest for this episode is James Brown III, a friend of mine with whom I performed in a Broadway show, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, oh so very many years ago, huh? How did that happen? And but that isn't why we're chatting today. James is also a writer, a film director, a producer, and now a real estate developer. James currently is the president and co-founder of Storyhouse Village, a sustainable planned community in Sheridan, Wyoming, where he eventually plans to have a development of houses along with a movie soundstage catering to the multiple films and TV shows produced on the landscape of Wyoming, Montana, and frankly, throughout the Rocky Mountains. He's touched multiple elements of the creative economy, and that is why he is here today. And, might I add, serves on the board of directors of 4A Arts. Welcome, James. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So what childhood artistic experience put you on the path that you're on today?
Such a good question. I think there are two that really stick out in my mind. The first one, must be fourth grade, fifth grade. I went to a private school in LA. It was an all black private school called Marcus Garvey. Very, very strict, but awesome foundation for my education. And one of the academic competitions we had, if you won, we got to go see the filming of the Grammys that year.
Oh, wow.
And so I won, and we got to go to the rehearsal before and then the show after. And that year, Janet Jackson was performing.
Amazing.
And so we were sitting front row for her rehearsal. And she was doing the song All Day. And that just has stuck in my mind as being such a moment of, I would love to do that. Still not thinking that I would do that. And the other one that sticks in my mind is one of the first plays I did, and this would have been maybe first grade, was a show called Stone Soup, based on like a children's story.
Oh, yeah.
Something with Native Americans and a stone and a soup, and I can't remember the fable or the parable, but I played the Native American that carried the stone. And I had the stone in my back pocket of my costume. My costume wasn't fit properly, and the day of the show, the stone weighed my pants down, and my pants fell down in the middle of the show. So that might have been the beginning of my Broadway Bears career as well. At first, whatever you are, first grade.
Wow. That was not where I was expecting that story to go. I figured you lost the stone and had to improvise or whatever, but that's hilarious. And
No,
talk about traumatic. I mean, yeah, that's amazing.
I guess it was not traumatic in a bad way, because, years later, I'm on Broadway.
All right. So I gave a little bit of an intro of what your background has been in the very varied path that you've walked to where you are right now. But could you actually just tell us about the path that brought you actually specifically to Storyhouse Village?
Yeah. So I spent almost 20 years in New York after undergrad. I went to Brown as an actor, did 12 different Broadway shows, and really fell in love with the arts, and fell in love with storytelling in particular. And as I explored the other mediums of storytelling, I started to costume design, fashion design. I founded 2 lifestyle magazines, one of which was like the Vanity Fair of Broadway. I started producing TV and film, and then I started writing. And all of those things felt like every experience I'd had to that point fed into my ability to tell stories and to tell them in different ways and to see both the macro level of the story as well as the micro level of the story. And I knew that being a storyteller was my future. About a year or two prior to the pandemic, I was in Harry Potter at the time, and I knew that I was, I think, done with my career as an actor and was ready to start a career as a writer, as a screenwriter. So I planned my exit from New York and from Harry Potter. Pandemic hit, perfect time to move to LA, start writing.
Hmm.
And my producing partner at the time, we had started a production company together. We shot a film called Early Light in Sheridan, Wyoming, that was about two veterans getting PTSD therapy through equine assisted therapy.
Uh-huh.
So, because it was site specific, we shot the film in Sheridan. We partnered with an organization called CHAPS, which is an equine assisted therapy ranch. 20% of the money we raised to shoot the film, we gave back to the organization. And in turn, they allowed us to shoot the film on their ranch and use all of their horses, their wranglers. And they even started to connect us to the community at large, the city council. We brought a bunch of money just to the city itself, brought a crew of 22 people. And then the success of the film in the film festival market really just, I think it made it seem really real for them.
Hmm.
And then they asked us to be in the board of this veteran village project there that was building tiny homes and a community center for vets. And the next thing we know, we're sourcing land. We went from a smaller plot of land to this what we own now, this 240 acres. And you know, here we are building a
Uh-huh.
sustainable community. But really, that was the path there. And we named it Storyhouse Village, both I think figuratively and uh, like literally. And my approach to my role at the company and to our company and every aspect of it is that everything is a story to be told, right? We're creating community for families to move there to start their story or to continue their story. It's multi-generational, so we want them to continue to write their story there. And then, as obviously on the film side, we're producing films and we're creating a space for other networks and studios and streamers and producers to come and shoot and everything.
Um, the storytelling aspect is so fascinating because you could be seen as, just another developer in so many different ways. But that storytelling aspect seems like it would be very different from what other developers would say. But is that a is that an element of development that you've ever seen that people bring, say, a philosophical or soul-filled aspect to development?
I think you're seeing a little bit more these days because we're starting to think about sustainability. We're starting to think about intentional living.
Hmm.
So we are seeing a little bit, but I'd like to think our approach is unique, that our approach is changing hearts and minds and business people when it comes to our live, work, play community that we're building. Yeah,
So many elements of this I want to dive into, not the least of which is the creative economy aspect of, frankly, dollars and cents being brought to the area, but also
yeah,
what the way you and I have talked about this project for years. And the way I explain it to other people is, oh, James is building a movie studio in Sheridan, Wyoming. But really, you're approaching it from a different way. It's almost like you're going bottom up versus top down or whatever, that you think of this first as a community and then the sound stages will come later, right? But why in that order?
yeah. I actually just got off a call with, well, not a pitch angel investor, where they are an investor. We were able to execute, and they're going to close, so it's exciting.
Congrats.
Thank you. But that came up, and so I pushed our company and our board and our team to consider ourselves a real estate development company. That is that's the foundation of our company. That's the backbone. And right now, it's the major revenue generating aspect of the company. And so we are building this 240 acres of work play community. We are also, right now, we have a 47-acre property in Montana under contract that we plan on buying by the end of the year. That is 400,000 square feet of building on it. That's turnkey ready to be sound stages. So we're already scaling to the entertainment aspect of the business. But even when we look at that acquisition and the sound stages, I'm still pushing us to see that as a real estate play. It's commercial real estate. We're buying space, we're renting space.
Mm-hmm.
The use of the space is film production.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually not so different than hospitality as a commercial real estate play, where we are renting space, rooms, services, right? The services here are equipment, post production, uh, those sorts of things. And having that lens or that frame has also been easier to sell this to our investors because they understand real estate. They
Mm-hmm.
understand this is the price per square footage, this is the demand, and rather than having to sell a real estate investor on the film industry, which
Right.
is like, or having to sell a creative. I mean, this is such a generalization, but having to sell a creative on the dollars and cents of film,
Uh-huh.
as opposed to this is a hard asset of 240 acres and 47 acres that we purchase for X price and we can now rent or sell for X price. Like wrapping your brain around that is a lot easier for whether you're in the industry or not.
So, what infrastructure already exists in the region for switching back to
Yeah.
film, the film industry? What infrastructure exists there already in the region, not necessarily Storyhouse Village?
Yeah. So none. I mean, it's really the answer to that,
Mm-hmm.
which is why the demand exists, which is why we wanted to bring it. There, Yellowstone did their principal photography, so Paramount had a foothold in Missoula, Montana, which is where our new acquisition is going to be. But those studios that they were using, they only used. So any outside production companies or there's thousands of filmmakers in Montana
Uh-huh.
and in the Wyoming area, but they couldn't utilize those studios.
Hmm.
And now Paramount has moved most of that principal photography down to Texas, but the work crews still exist, the film crews exist, the ancillary businesses exist. Montana has a tax incentive, so let's bring the infrastructure to meet that demand.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
then, what can you dive back into? What is it? What is the infrastructure that you're going to be bringing? And furthermore, what is the contribution that you'll be making to the creative economy in that area?
Yeah. So in Montana, the great thing is, like I said, there's already 400,000 square feet of building. It was a lumber mill that shut down in May. Working lumber mill, so that meant 120 workers lost their jobs.
Uh-huh. Did you
We
say
learned
it closed just in May of
just in May.
this
Yeah,
year? Oh, wow. And
yeah.
wait, sorry, specify for me. How was Yellowstone using it? If it just closed in May?
Yellowstone was using a separate property, but in the same city.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
hmm But this was an actual particle board lumber mill that Roseburg Products owned. Um, and so 120 workers lost their jobs in May. We learned of the opportunity in February under NDA that it was closing. They hadn't let the workers know. The city didn't know. So what we found exciting about the opportunity, what ultimately the sellers did, is that we were pitching to them, we wouldn't be destroying their lumber mill, just clearing up all the machines, having 45 foot span buildings, cleaned out, like that's perfect for filming. Not only that, we have a vocational training arm of our company that can now transition those workers to become film crew. It's all uh, blue collar work, carpenters, electricians, woodworkers, builders. And so, literally in 3 weeks, we could take 120 people and make them grips and electricians and carpenters on the film set. And now they have steady work, much higher salaries, better benefits, safer, and they get to work on different films and TV throughout the years. So the story of that was really exciting. And so we
Yeah,
know that, and this I think speaks to it. One of your next questions is we know that we can create over 435 jobs
that's amazing.
from these film studios. And in a town like Missoula, in a town like Sheridan, that's a significant number of jobs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And and a lot of the research that we've done, we have a great woman on our team, Nicole Bautier. She's our chief business development officer, but she's done a lot of market research showing the impact of film to a state, which is why a lot of these states are adopting tax film incentives because they
Sure.
understand the economic impact of bringing film to a state. And so that's really our angle of one, increasing the tax incentive in Montana, and then getting a tax incentive in Sheridan, in Wyoming.
Hmm. Which doesn't exist right now.
It doesn't exist at the moment, yeah.
Oh, that's kind of
Which is why
surprising.
we're kind of slowly rolling the build of the film studios in Sheridan.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
you're creating. Oh, back to specifically Storyhouse Village versus Missoula.
yeah.
You're
Hmm.
creating a company town, kind of.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, is there a model for this having happened anywhere else in, I don't know, history or anywhere in the country that where it pops up around a film industry, for instance?
Yeah, no, Tyler Perry actually was about to do it, and then the pandemic hit, and so he didn't expand the way he was going to.
Would that have been in Georgia?
It would have been in Georgia, yes.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. And then there's a studio called Trilith that's also in Georgia. That's by the Chick-fil-A owner,
Mm,
and it's similar, but we, I believe, will be the first that have kind of modeled it from the beginning as that.
hmm.
Um, and so it's exciting. Either way, we know it doesn't exist in the Mountain West region. We will be the largest subdivision in Sheridan and potentially in Wyoming, with Storyhouse Village. Yeah.
The vocational aspect. At what point in the process did you think, oh, whoops, we need to train people, or rather, or it's an opportunity? We get to train people. I mean, where did that come in the process? Because it seems like the kind of thing you could easily think after the fact.
Yeah, no, it came from the beginning because we knew that the crews didn't exist, right?
Hmm.
If there's no industry there, what are you going to do,
Hmm.
right? Production companies are willing to ship in the actors and the creatives, but they're going to need the local film crew to support the project. It's just way too expensive these days.
Hmm.
And we also knew, just based on have like my dad is one of our co-founders and one of our lead investors who's been in the industry for 40 years. So having a mind like that with us at the table has helped to shape us being able to look around the corners and
Hmm.
just see what blind spots we might be missing. And we knew early on that that's going to be one of them, that every company is going to say, okay, great, we'll come film there. Do the film crews exist?
Yeah.
And if they don't, that's going to be a barrier to entry for sure.
How has Sheridan and the surrounding community embraced Storyhouse Village?
They've been awesome. I think I'd be lying for sure if I said that there weren't obstacles, and that's to be expected when you're building a new business in a smaller town. What we've done to combat that and to ingratiate ourselves and integrate ourselves in the community is really take the time, take the last 4 years that we've built these relationships, built confidence, built trust in the community. And I think, again, going back to the story we wanted to tell, in the same way that if I'm sitting down to write a screenplay and I'm thinking about every aspect of the story, it was the same for us here. What story do we tell this community that gets them on board?
Hmm.
How do we build something for them and with them? And so, that's been a big part of our push. We've been creating like little committees where we literally get random residents from the town and say, if this were built, what's something you need? What's what's something you wish existed in Sheridan?
Hmm.
Um, and when you start to do that, they feel like they have some sort of buy-in, they have some sort of stake, they have some sort of say in what's being created, and it just helps to smooth some of those tensions that may exist. Now, of course, there's always going to be those folks that are like, no,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, they need 4,200 lots of housing. They're in a housing crisis, and we're
Even there in
helping to
Sheridan,
solve that.
Wyoming, huh?
And which is why we're doing it. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this if there wasn't a demand. We are really trying to to help that because, and it's 4,200 lots, everything from attainable housing on up to 2-acre ranch homes. I mean,
Hmm.
the majority of that 4,200 lots is actually single family homes that are in the like 450 to 750,000 um, dollars
Hmm.
range. So
Hmm.
like that's um, so you're like, you can't complain about not having housing and then be upset when someone's trying to bring housing.
Yeah. Were there any surprises if you think back about those committees with local people asking for their needs and wants? Do you recall any, I don't know, particularly standout needs that were expressed?
I mean, I think most of them make sense. I mean, like they're like, we want a Chick-fil-A, we want a Costco,
Right.
um, yeah, Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Those, yeah. Not there hasn't been anything out of pocket, at
Uh-huh.
least not yet.
Uh, we often reflect at 4A Arts about how you don't necessarily need to be a traditional artist, and I put that in quotes, as an adult to have benefited from an artistic background. Also, I would argue that everybody is an artist in their own way, and I definitely teed you up for this answer. But I'm curious what your artistic experience, how it influenced you to be successful in this current journey.
Yeah, I mean, certainly in a direct way, part of my role at the company is overseeing all the creative of the company, and that's everything from the marketing to what projects we decide to take on in terms of film and TV, to literally writing our design guidelines, residential and commercial design guidelines for the 240 acres, what it's going to look like, it's going to be a modern farmhouse theme throughout. I'm on the architectural review committee, so every developer and builder that builds a house or an apartment building has to go through me to make sure it fits in with the full. So I work directly with our architects, with our engineers on that. So my experience in design, helps that directly. But I think
Hmm.
indirectly, it's also helped, being an actor for as long as I was, being able to tell stories, being really comfortable with improv, that has helped immensely in the hundreds of pitches I've done for my company, for my scripts. Uh, and because you're talking to real people, and no matter how many times you tell the story of the company, or you're selling to an investor, something changes, their energy changes, their questions change, and we're in this age where, just like we're doing right now, most of these pitches are happening via Zoom. They're not always in person. So oddly enough, my experience with TV and film, understanding how a camera works, understanding, what the difference is if I lean forward, as if I lean back, and like,
Yeah.
all those things come into play when I'm pitching to an investor and I'm in a meeting and having to control a room that's not even a room. It's just you know, 8 squares of people.
Mhm.
So I think I use that every day. And I'm so grateful for those experiences because, right, we didn't bring it up, but right now I'm getting my MBA at Wharton, and most of my classmates come from either finance or tech and consulting. That's really kind of the majority of my class. But we've had lots of projects in which we've had to pitch to investors. We've had to do presentations. We've had to write stuff. And I see them all clam up, not all, but a lot of them clam up, or a lot of them have nerves, or they're not used to standing in front of people, or not used to giving presentations. And that's something that comes as easily to me as breathing. And that's all because of my time on stage. So,
So very many auditions at Ripley Greer to have to move
yeah,
through.
exactly.
You believe the arts deserve more support from our elected officials, right, listener? You're listening to this podcast, so I'm guessing you do. So, if so, please take the time to check out 4arts.org and consider giving a little donation to support our movement to change the narrative around American arts and culture. Give now at 4arts.org, and thanks. Alrighty, so for a change of tone and just some sheer fun, you were in 12 Broadway shows, which is amazing. Can you share with us a couple of your favorite memories? I know that spans, I mean, I'm looking at you and laughing because I know that is, the stories are endless, but nevertheless, for our listeners, can you share a couple of favorite standouts?
Yeah, I mean,
Besides being with me on stage in
that
Pursuit of the
goes
Fruit of the
without
Desert,
saying.
obviously.
Um, yeah, I have a couple that pop to mind. I mean, quick ones first. Obviously, um, working with Stephen Sondheim, one of my favorite composers of all time, and that being my Broadway debut,
Hmm.
working on The Frogs, and him writing the music for it. Unbelievable, to have had that experience. Being on the Tony Awards, specifically Memphis, we won that year. I think we may have I know we were nominated, I think, for 11. We may have won 7. I mean, it was, but performing that performance and winning, and it was a special year. So that comes to mind. But the two real stories that I have are one from Color Purple and one from Harry Potter. So the Color Purple is one of my favorite stories to tell. We were in production rehearsal for it, and our producers tell us that tomorrow some cameras are going to come in just to get some B-roll. So we'll do, Africa, we'll do The Color Purple, and we'll do like one other number. So we're like, okay, cool. They're like, wear something cute, look good, but like it doesn't have to be crazy. It should be rehearsal clothes. Awesome. So the next day we come in, we're warming up, we kind of run through the numbers that we're gonna do, and they're like, okay, great, the cameras are here. So the camera crew comes in as we're working, um, and they start kind of. We're still warming up. They're like, oh, we need 5 more minutes before the other producers come in. So we're still warming up. They're getting like B-roll footage of us warming up and stuff. We're chit-chatting. And then they're like, oh, okay, the producers are here, so, let's get ready. The doors open up and Oprah walks through the door. And the cameras are on us to get our reaction of Oprah walking
Yeah.
through the door.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, we freaked out.
Yeah.
It was genuinely wild. So we learned that it was her cameras, not like some B-roll. It was like,
Right.
and she was announcing to us in real time that she was coming on as a lead producer
Wow.
and that we were going to be on her show. Like in like literally like a week, we were flying out to Chicago. She still had her show at the time, and
Uh-huh.
we were going to be on her show to perform two numbers. So that was like just crazy story.
That's pretty epic.
Working with Oprah, she was amazing. She was actually around a lot. Gail even more. We called her Auntie O because like she was around that much that she would come and literally take her shoes off and just be in the theater with us.
Wow.
Um, we got awesome gifts for opening night from her, and it was crazy. And then my other wild story is from Harry Potter. So I was, it was like in between the first year and the second year of the show. Initially, the show wasn't owned by the Universal brand.
Hmm.
It was, I forget the production company, but so we were not attached to the films in any way. We still did cross promotional stuff for it, but Universal didn't own any part of it. So it was really just because of JK that there was, at some point a deal got done that Universal bought some percentage of the show. So that meant rebranding the show, like all the font went to the
Oh, yeah.
film font,
Hmm.
like the front of house, all that stuff, all the merch, everything switched to. And the way that they announced to the world that this was happening, they literally took over Times Square and all the LEDs, literally all of them in Times Square, created this like huge announcement that utilized all the LEDs in a real integrated way with like Dementors, and it was crazy. So obviously we were all there. They had set up a stage for us on those red steps and they had hired ad folks in Harry Potter type costumes, passing stuff out. And then this huge presentation that was like 10 minutes long. That was like a little mini movie that announced the show was like switching branding.
That's pretty astounding.
Yeah, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars for this like campaign to switch it over to the universal branding of it all. And then um, and then obviously that ratcheted up the amount of cross promotional stuff we did for like the Fantastic Beasts movies and
Oh.
yeah, so
Listening to you here, you're beaming and smiling broadly. I'm going to get a little philosophical and just asking, what is it, can you say, that makes your life most meaningful?
yeah, I feel so lucky and so fortunate and so grateful that I've gotten to make a living doing stuff that I'm passionate about.
Hmm.
And the reason why I say stuff is because it's been so varied, right? Every aspect of my career post undergrad has truly been something I wanted to do, that I desired to do, that are millions of people's dreams, and I'm so fortunate that I've gotten to do that, that I've gotten to pursue it, that I continue to get to pursue my passion, and being able to wake up every day knowing that what I'm going to work on today means something to me, and actually changes a lot of lives. I think the arts change lives. So spending 20 years as a Broadway actor, as a TV and film actor, knowing that millions of people have seen the stories that I was a part of telling, that changes lives. That has changed those people's lives, mostly for the better. that's exciting. And in
Hmm.
the same way, I'm building a community that's going to have 2,000 units, that's going to have potentially 2,000 families
Hmm.
living on it, telling their story that that this is where I raised my kids, and that hill that slid into the lake is where we um, sledded every winter, and we jumped in the ocean or in the lake every summer.
Hmm.
I'm so grateful for that. I'm so great, and that really um, not everyone has that,
Hmm.
and not everyone can say that about their career. Not everyone even has a career. Some people really truly just have a job,
Hmm.
and I don't take that for granted. And yeah, it does make me a bit emotional sometimes thinking about it
Hmm.
because that's the truth, and that isn't everyone's truth.
Hmm.
Um, and when the point hit me as an actor where I no longer saw, where I no longer had that same perspective for doing Broadway, where I was like, oh yeah, it's like in a 12th Broadway show, I can get a 13, right? Like that was when I knew that it was time to move on. When I knew that, yes, I still loved it. I still could understand that not everyone can have a Broadway show, but it no longer felt like that on like in my bones and on my skin. It
Hmm.
didn't feel the same way. And then that was what the time that I knew that I needed to refocus and pivot to something that gave me that again, that made me see just how fortunate I was to have those opportunities.
What do you think is art's purpose, if not to make money?
I suppose the low hanging fruit, right, is to inspire. I
Mm.
think, um, and yeah, maybe that is the macro answer. If we dig a little deeper, arts can mean different things to different people. Um, in times of kind of political strife and war, arts can serve to educate. Arts can serve to escape, right? They can be a way to escape from the realities that exist. They can be a, a vehicle to educate. And sometimes I just think art is there to bring joy. Like sometimes it's just so that we can smile. I have a tattoo on my arm that's choose joy, and I do believe that is a big part of what art is for. I have some really close friends. My best friends are all artists and they're creators, and they're now kind of in the director choreographer world, and they're also writers. One of them in particular is in the middle of developing a musical, and when I first saw uh, a version of it out in Berkeley, I remember leaving the show crying, like crying almost hysterically, and not from tears, but literally from joy, because I was seeing a show that had a cast of all Black people, and the show wasn't a period drama. It wasn't about slavery. It wasn't a bio musical about someone's life. It wasn't connected to a canon of music that we all know. It wasn't making a huge political statement. It was literally a show about two people falling in love and one person not being able to, uh, based on their circumstances, not like being able to stay in the relationship. So it was really a love story. And I couldn't have been more excited that we had a product, that we had a musical that was just made you feel good. It
Hmm.
didn't have to make some huge statement about the plight of Black people and our history. I didn't need to relive racism as for entertainment.
Hmm.
You know, like I got to go to the theater and see a show that just was a love story
Hmm.
and saw Black people on stage celebrating life and celebrating love. And yeah, there was drama and obviously conflict. We need conflict, but
Right.
ultimately it's a joyful story. Um, and so talking, he asked me a lot of, give notes as they're in the development process, and so I've seen some other iterations of it as they've developed it, and I keep saying to him, make sure that the show doesn't lose its joy.
Hmm.
You can deepen it, and that's okay, but everything doesn't have to be this huge socio-political statement.
Hmm.
Um, and and to me, that's art. To me, like art doesn't always have to do something smart. Sometimes art can just make you do that. Like it just make you smile, just make you, and that's all kinds of art, right? Whether it's a painting or a poem or a building, right?
Hmm.
Uh, Sometimes it can just be for entertainment. It can be just to make you feel good. It can be just to make you feel sad, but not because you're sad because, Black people were enslaved for 200 years, right?
Hmm.
Um, we know that.
Right.
I don't know that I always have to see Black people on film doing that to, to feel like art.
Well, speaking of a whole lot of things that you just said right now, I want to bring this back to just some sheer lighthearted joy.
Yeah,
You danced with Michael Jackson.
I did.
Oh my God. And you know what? In all the years that you and I have known each other, I've never once heard any stories of that. Can you just give us a little anecdote about what was that like?
Wild. It was now 23 years ago. That's, first of all, crazy.
Yeah.
My first job after Brown, did not think that this was what I was going to be doing. I went to the audition as part of psych research that I was doing. And the first day of audition, the choreographer just took a liking to me. They didn't know who I was. I happened to match physically with one of their favorite dancers. So we looked like bookends together. And in the in the audition, we were dancing next to each other, totally coincidentally. And so like making it through, it was a like week long auditions, callbacks, callbacks, callbacks. Final day was at midnight. Michael is on video, like conference, watching us. We're all in the line, height order. Our headshots are on the table, so they're like moving them around. We can't really hear, obviously, what they're talking about. And then the choreographers went down the line. They're like, "Thank you, please stay. Thank you, please stay, whatever." So the thank yous were, left out of the room. And so the rest of us stayed, and then like Michael was like, "Welcome to my 30th anniversary, tour."
Oh, you got it in the room. That
Yeah,
never happens.
yeah, fully in the room, and like literally at midnight. And the experience was just wild because not only were we dancing with Michael, but we were also dancing with the major pop stars at the time because it was it was a tribute to Michael. The first half were other stars doing some of his songs as a tribute to him. The other half was him performing. So we were dancing for everyone, including. So it was like, Whitney Houston at the time, Destiny's Child, Missy Elliott.
What?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
wild. Usher. Um, and yeah, and the crazy thing, working with Michael was unbelievable. I was 20 years old, and he he just put out the Rock My World album. He hadn't performed in a while. The first thing we learned with him was Beat It, and to be in a room where like we learned it ahead of him coming into the studio. And then once he got there, then he was gonna literally like give us notes and like throw us around. I mean, that's literally what happened. So we got there and we're going over the like well-known section, and he's giving us notes, and I mean, he was in it. There was no pretense. There was nothing weird. Like he was in the room ready to work. He is a musician. He was a workhorse, and so professional and so warm and so amazing. Obviously, we weren't going to, Starbucks after with him, but when he was in the room, he was in the room, and we were there with him, and it was amazing. It was I, never forget that time, especially because we were the last folks to truly perform with him on that scale. He didn't,
Hmm.
he passed before the This Is It tour opened.
Hmm.
Um, Crazy.
Wow. Yeah. And how did the experience of performing this differ from performing in a Broadway show?
Oh God, it's like not even apples and oranges. It's like apples and you know lint. Like it could not be more different. Um, yeah, Madison Square Gardens. Like
Yeah. Size,
to
obviously.
to be in Madison Square Gardens
Mm.
performing Beat
Hmm.
with Michael Jackson standing next to you
Hmm.
and hundreds of thousands of people screaming,
Hmm.
passing out, thinking like the whole thing. No pop star living has that.
Hmm.
Beyonce does. I mean, yes, Beyonce's huge, Taylor Swift's huge, but no one has ever been affected by an artist the way Michael Jackson has affected, fans. I think part of that nowadays is because of social media, so there's like a different connection to the star.
Hmm.
Whereas with Michael Jackson, it didn't exist. There is a huge wall between the audience and he's such a star. So to feel that energy from tens of thousands of people, and with Michael Jackson, not to say that his dances were as star powered as he was, but in some ways, kind of,
Hmm.
right? Uh, so we were receiving that same energy, and it was intentionally given to us from the audience.
Hmm.
It's an unbelievable feeling. It just is, and nothing in the 12 Broadway shows that I've ever done has ever come close.
Did you ever get to relate to him in a way that you weren't talking to a superstar and just talking to a fellow performer on the stage?
Yeah, I think every time he was in rehearsal, it was that 100%. Like, and any of the extra were from his people.
Hmm. Hmm.
They kind of created this allure, and luckily, we only saw them as they were kind of bringing him in, and then they left, and it
Mm.
was just us, Michael, and the choreographers. Sometimes
Dang.
he would bring his kids in. They were super cute. They were young at the time.
Yeah.
Um, but working with him was no different than working with, yeah, Sutton Foster.
Gavin
You know what I mean?
Lodge. Gavin
Yeah,
Lodge on Priscilla
David,
Desert.
exactly. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for indulging that. If money were no object, how would you spend your time?
Ooh, traveling on a beach, going on cruises with my family,
Great.
um, making films.
Hmm.
Yeah, making films, making TV, writing for sure.
So, finally, what cultural experience are you most looking forward to right now? Whether it's something next week, next month, next year?
Ooh, this one is related to my business. So one of the biggest draws to Sheridan, Wyoming, is their rodeo.
Uh-huh.
Happens in July. One of the largest rodeos in the country. And so we're going to do a big investor event for rodeo next year. We're going to glamp on our property, like put up big tents and have our
Yeah.
investor, nice tents, and have our investors stay on the land, and we'll take them to rodeo for the week. And I am pumped for that. I haven't been yet. I've never been to a rodeo. I can ride a horse. I do have cowboy boots. Um, but yeah, rodeo for sure. I'm excited for that because that truly is the Mountain West culture,
Yeah.
cowboying. We've got a couple cowboys on our team, legitimate cowboys on our team, which is really 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 cool. And yeah, I'm pumped for it.
I mean, I know there's a million different ways of being able to define art, but there's an awful lot of art to rodeo, that's for sure. That's very
Definitely.
cool. How
Yeah.
cool. James, thank you for spending this time and sharing so much. And I think it's really awesome the projects that you are building and creating opportunities for people to experience life a little more authentically and humanely connecting with each other through the experiences, the stories that you were telling. So, thank you for being part of the team. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me, and I look forward to more.
Framing the Hammer is written, produced, and edited by 4A Arts. Thank you for listening, and check us out again. Thanks.